Welcome to Hillbilly Hog Haven. We're not professionals here, but we like to tinker around with motorcycles a little bit. We're just starting out ourselves. Hopefully you'll learn something from this video that may help you on a 3-hole change. We're working on a 2014 Ultra Limited today, and hopefully you enjoy the video. Now, underneath here, let me see, but basically going underneath here, up in there, that's your transmission plug. You go over here, and that's your motor oil plug. And take a, it's a 5/8 wrench. 5/8. We're going to pull that and drain the oil. You see it's draining kind of slow. We pulled the plug. So we're going to go ahead and pull the dipstick. And when we do it, we're just take this plugger here, and I got a little wire brush. We're going to clean that real good all around there, and then we're going to put a little of the blue thread sealer on it. And hopefully by that time we're done drained out good, and we'll put that back in. We'll clean it up. Now there's a little O-ring on there, and we're going to replace that O-ring. We're going to do this with all 3 plugs. It's the same thing on all 3 plugs. I like to do my oil first, and then my tranny and my primary. A lot of people drain them all at the same time. I like to drain this out, clean this plug up, put this plug back in, and then do the next one and the next one. And basically all we're going to do is wire brush that off real good. We're going to put a new O-ring on there. The O-rings cost like $1. It's well worth $1 to put a new one on, make sure it doesn't leak. And we're going to take off the oil filter. We bought this little handy oil filter wrench. These really work. I tried other oil filter wrenches that wouldn't really fit in here because it's so tight up in there where your oil filter is. It's very hard to get a wrench in there, a regular oil filter wrench. So I strongly suggest you spend the $10 at Harley and get one of them. And as you can see, I cut a little plastic bottle to go around that to try and catch some of the oil. Hopefully we'll catch most of the oil in the plastic bottle rather than drop it all over the place. Alright, so we got a long extension. We went through our just loosening the filter. I got a hand loose. I'm going to do the rest by hand, so I'll need both my hands to do that. Alright, now what we've done is we've got the filter off. We let that drain a little bit into that plastic, and we filled this filter up with oil, and then we took our finger and run a little oil around that rubber edge, and that gives you a good seal. I put a rag under there just to catch anything, and I hand tightened it on there, and basically we're going to take our little oil wrench and give it and turn it about 1/2 to 3/4 of a turn, and that's it. That's done. You don't want to over tighten it. About 1/2 a turn's all you need. So we hand tightened it to about 3/4 of a turn, or we hand tightened it and then we gave it about 3/4 of a turn. We wiped that down with a rag just to clean it up a little bit. I'm going to peel that sticker off of there, even though that's for your mileage and the date. I just write that on a piece of paper. I don't really like that on my chrome filter. I want people to, you know, if anybody looks at it, I want them to see a chrome filter, not some sticker like that. Okay, so we have our plug all cleaned up. We're going to just put just a dab of blue thread sealer on it. I'm going to use our, I don't see this. I'll put just a dab of blue thread dye, and then I'm going to use my finger, run it around there. So we got that all cleaned up. I put a little blue thread lock on it, just a little bit, just to get a good seal. And I'm going to hand thread that in to make sure I don't cross thread it. Hand thread it in a ways. Make sure I don't cross thread it. And then we're going to torque it to, this one calls for 14 to 20 inches, foot-pounds. So I found that if I go 20, it's usually way over tight, so I'm going to go as low as I can on my torque wrench, and that'll be that. So we ran around the block. Let her sit out in the yard for a couple minutes, warm up, then we ran around the block just to get the oil heated up. And this bike takes 3 quarts to begin with, is what you want to start with. Where if you have like a tri-glide or something, it may take 4 quarts. It depends on your bike. You have to check your owner's manual, or if you have a book, that's the best way to find out. If you have an actual service manual, that's great. If you have an owner's manual, that'll tell you how many quarts your bike takes. And she's reading pretty low. So we're going to add a little oil to it now that it's hot. We pump some oil through there. We're checking it, and we're way below the full line, so we're going to add some oil and go from there. But every bike's different. Check your owner's manual, see what you need to start with, then go from there. You can always add some. Obviously, you don't want to run it super long with it low on oil. So we ended up adding a whole nother quart. The service manual does start with 3 quarts and then check it and add, and we ended up adding 4 whole quarts to the bike. We're going to double check, make sure there's no leaks. We're going to take a flashlight and look around the drain plug. We're going to look around the oil filter, and then we're just going to keep an eye on our oil on a regular basis, you know, to make sure that we're not losing any oil anywhere. And every once in a while we will double check around our drain plug and around our oil filter with a flashlight, make sure nothing's dripping or nothing like that. But oil's done. Now onto the transmission and onto the primary. Now to do the primary, there's a bolt. Right under here is a, hopefully you can see it, there's a nut to drain it. Normally most people would drain it first. I want to take off the cover. I want to see what the level is in there before I drain it, just out of curiosity, see what the level is. But basically you want to take these off in a star pattern so you don't warp this cover. You want to start here, 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 and you want to repeat it a few times. Loosen this a little bit, little bit, little bit, little bit, little bit. Go back up, loosen that a little bit, little bit, little bit, little bit, little bit, until you get it all the way off. You want to do it a little bit at a time. That way you don't warp the cover out of shape. Some people say you can reuse that gasket in there one time. For $10, I'm not going to take the chance on putting a crappy gasket in there. I recommend you put in a new gasket. And basically that's it. I'm going to remove this cover, pull the drain plug out. I want to look at my level. I'm just curious what my level is from the last time I did it. And then I'm going to pull the drain plug, let it drain, clean up the drain plug just like I did the other one, put a little blue thread lock on it and put the plug back in, and then we'll come back to you and show you what we're going to do to fill it up. Pulled off our cover. You may have to remove this foot peg to get to this one. Some people do. I could get to mine. I just used a little extension with a 28 millimeter Torx wrench and started at the top. Did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just continually loosened until I got it all the way off. And we're going to go underneath this bolt right here. There's our drain plug. And we're going to loosen that up and let her drain. And check out the plug. And let's see if we have any issues going on. A little harder one-handed, but you know. When you set the bike up level, no oil will spill out of here. Until you pull the drain plug. And we're just going to let that drain. Going to clean up that plug. Looks nice and clean on the top. Doesn't look like there's any metal chunks or nothing we gotta worry about. We'll clean up the plug, put on a new O-ring just like we did the other one. Put a little blue on there. By that time that should probably be done draining. We'll take a little wire brush, clean that up good, and then we'll be ready to put the oil back in. So we've drained our primary. We're going to go ahead and lube up the drain plug with a little, just put a little dab of blue on there just to make sure she stays. dab of blue around it. Oh, shit. Too much. Way too much. I'm gonna wipe a little bit off. Little dab of blue thread sealer on it just to make sure she stays where she wants to be. And we got a little too much on there, but it'll be alright. Just wipe her off a little bit. And we'll put our drain plug in. We'll hand thread it and make sure we don't strip it. And then once we get it up tight, we'll torque it to the right specs per the service manual. Cameron, coffee girl, we love coffee. So we have our drain plug back in, a little too much blue on it. We got this little contraption from the Harley shop, $10, you can't beat it. This is specifically for putting in transmission fluid. I use this transmission and primary chain lube from Harley, 80/40 full synthetic. Everybody has a preference. You can use 2050 motor oil. A lot of people use it. That's what most Harley shops, when they service your bike, that's what they put in it. 2050 in all 3 holes. Guy suggested this to me. I put it in. I liked it. Everybody has their own preference as to what they use oil wise, so use whatever you want, feel comfortable with. And that's what makes this nice. You can just dump it in. Now mine calls for 38 ounces. Everyone's going to be a little different. Basically, you want to fill it up to the bottom of the clutch plate down there. So there's 32 ounces. Now I got to add. That's 1 quart, so there's 32 ounces. So now I need to add 6 more ounces. Basically, to get to the bottom of that clutch plate, I want to make sure I'm at the bottom of the clutch plate. So I'll fill that up to the bottom of the clutch plate, and then I'll just put my gasket back on and go from there. So we went ahead and put a little blue thread sealer on them, torqued them to 100 pounds, wiped everything down so if anything leaks we'll be able to see the leak with a paper towel. When we get done, we'll wash the bike good. That way we'll be able to spot any leaks that pop up. But you want to wipe everything down as you're going, just to make sure, that way if you see something dripping or something, you know what it is. And we did it in a star pattern. Here, 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 here. You just keep going over it and keep going over it until you get it all torqued down. And that's that. Onto the transmission. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see this or not, but the transmission plug is up in this hole here. We're going to pull that plug and we're going to check it, see if it's got any stuff on it. Got a little hole in the frame and the transmission plugs up in there. Get it loose and then I'll slide that my oil pan under there real fast. Not too tight. the same thing. We're going to check the plug, see if there's any metal on it. Looks pretty clean. And we'll clean it up with a wire brush. We'll put a new O-ring on it. I'll pull the dipstick, which is right here. That'll let more air in there, and that'll let it drain out better. Gotta use an Allen wrench, pull that out, and we'll drain that. I'll clean the plug up, put some blue stuff on it, put a new O-ring on it, and put it back in. Alright, we've cleaned the plug, put some blue on it. Thread sealer. My bike calls for 28 ounces, so we're going to bike calls for 28 ounces. We're going to use a measuring cup, and we're going to put in about 24 to start with, and then we're going to check it. And this, you're supposed to check it on the jiffy stand, and just like the oil, you screw the thing down until you just touch the rubber on the metal, and then that's how you check your transmission fluid. Then you back it back out and check your transmission fluid. You got this little rubber thing there. You're supposed to screw it down till that touches, and you want it right in between the right in the middle of the X. There is where you want it. So we're going to check this. We'll probably have to add a little more because it calls for 28 ounces. I only put 24 in it, and we'll go from there. And then we'll start it up. We'll run it around the block. We'll check it again. You know, once we get it to where we want it, we'll start it up, take it for a little run, come back, double check it. And this gets torqued down. I'll have to look how many inch-pounds it takes, but this gets torqued down when you're done. You got it where you want it. You torque this down. So that is a 3-hole change, fluid change. By all means, that is nowhere near an entire service. That is just changing your 3-hole service. To do the whole service, I got like 3 pages of things that need to be checked off: spark plugs, tires, check the battery, check all kind of lubes, check your antifreeze. I mean, here's 1 page. Here's 2 whole pages of things that need to be checked off to do a complete service. But that's your 3-hole change. Hopefully that'll help somebody out. I don't know. We're just amateurs, so we go to the book a lot. But I suggest you get a service manual like this. You're going to try and do this. You can do it with just your owner's manual. That has all the specs in there for doing the 3-hole change anyway. Alright, have a good one. We hope you enjoyed the video. Click like and subscribe. Maybe we'll do some more videos if we get enough subscribers to the channel. Like I said, we're not professionals, so we do the best we can. Hopefully we can all learn something together.